Hello and welcome to another Gentleman video. This time I wanted to introduce you to the secondary protagonist in our game. Lovely. I will show you how I went from the idea to the final drawing you see on the screen, and the general concepts I followed in the design process. I will also explain why there are two main characters in our game. But firstly, if you are new to the channel and have never heard of the Gentleman, it's a Metroidvania me and a couple of my friends were developing for the past year and a half. In my first video, I talked a little about the story of our game. So if you want to know more about the Gentleman's Law, I highly advise you to check out the description, or head directly to the mentioned video by clicking the annotation in the top right corner of the screen. Without further ado, let's begin. Lovely is the second playable character in Gentleman. Alongside Anna, our main protagonist, you will be playing both of them at once. The idea behind it is, Anna is the character you will be generally moving, while Lovely is the one you will be attacking. To be more specific, as Anna, you will perform actions like jumping and running. He will also interact with the game world and do pretty much everything you expect from a regular main character. Lovely, on the other hand, will be flying right beside you in the form of an umbrella, and she will be the one you will use to perform the action of an attack. Getting all of this out of the way, let's talk a little about Lovely's design. I will try to explain my design process in the form of a simple diagram for clarification. This will be a genuine representation of the process we use to develop characters for our game, and by we, I mean Hexcot, the name of our development team. For the most part, her visuals and character are supposed to reflect her purpose in our game. She will transform into an umbrella using her hair to form the parasol itself. She should also be able to use it to perform special abilities and attacks. This fact should be easily identifiable in her design. She spends most of her time as an umbrella, although she is still able to transform into her full self, as she is doing so once in a while. It's important to mention that in the story of our game, they were both killed and then 1,000 years later, resurrected. Anna retained his soul but lost his body in the process. He was cursed and now his soul is imprisoned in the top hat. Lovely lost her soul and now she's trapped in the form of an umbrella. You will see her like this most of the time during your playthrough. The entire soul system is still in the development, so I cannot really specify what I mean by retaining and losing souls. But according to the Lovely's design, I can tell you this. Lovely is still able to express emotions even without her soul. In fact, she's the one that will express most emotions in our game, as Anna is basically an expressionless mute. This was because he lost his body and because it's a game, so we want our players to decide what Anna will do and speak about. Because Lovely lost her soul, her eyes are empty. You could call them lifeless, but I generally mean she has no pupils. Her physical body is the umbrella, and the clothes you see on her are formed from the umbrella itself. Coming back to her visual appearance, she is an umbrella. I imagine her in this form as a complement to the Honor's outfit. I want them both to match each other in the colors and style of their clothing. Her silhouette should be simple in both her forms. According to her movement patterns, she will probably be able to roam freely under the hands of our players. She definitely needs to be easily visible on the screen at all times. I envisioned her character as expressive, playful and childish. I think of her as an easily irritable young girl with sorta unstable personality. From happiness, sadness to anger, I want her to express all of those emotions based on the things you do or choices you make in our game. For example, she will yell at Anna if he does something inappropriate, or laugh at your mistakes in the game. As she is a traveler, and every traveler in our world needs to wear a hat, she also needs to have one. In her full form, she will be much taller than Honor is. And not just a head taller, she will tower over him like twice his size. And last but not least, I want her face to be more square than Honor's face is. Those last 2 points came from the Addams family, where Morticia Addams mother of the family, is much taller than her husband Gomez. I thought it was suitable for characters related to each other in Gentleman to be the opposites of one another. I think in itself it creates a more interesting, more cohesive design. If you have never watched the movie or TV series, I can't recommend it enough. It's exceptional. I started sketching her full form, exploring some silhouettes, shapes of her head and different types of hairstyle. At all times, I kept in mind the idea of her hair being the parasol itself. After a couple of sketches though, none of them really appealed to me. I decided to work on the umbrella design. This time I kept my focus on the different ways she will attack and use her hair, as well as the form of an umbrella itself. I used some reference images of different vintage umbrellas I found on the web. This one specifically caught my attention. It's the Victorian version of some kind of vintage French parasol. The kind used back in the day by the noble ladies to stay protected from the sun, or so I heard. But it wasn't enough. The design wasn't convincing in any way, not in terms of her hair being the parasol, nor in the way she will use this hair. Anyhow, to fix this issue, we came up with the idea of using thorns to imply the illusion of danger. And I can confidently say it was a hit. Later on, I explored the way her clothing may look like. At first, I thought she would look great in some kind of an oversized robe, but it wasn't conveying her personality in any meaningful way. She also looked like some kind of a mage or scholar, which wasn't the way I wanted to portray her. I also noticed the problem with her head shape. It was way too squared and made her look much older than I wanted her to be. Next up came the idea of her wearing the flamenco dress. I assume flamenco is some kind of a Spanish dance. I don't know what the dress is actually called, but I thought it looks interesting, so I tried it out. While it did make her look younger, there aren't any cultural references to Spain in our game, so the design just didn't fit right into the overall picture. At this point, I decided to change the shape of her head to something more elongated and similar to Honor's head. I also gave her a proper hat and changed the way her dress looked. Her hair is now longer, reaching to her waist, and is full of thorns to stay cohesive with her umbrella form. I finally decided on keeping her appearance like this for now. Ultimately, it was the best attempt at showcasing her purpose in our game and staying true with her original assumptions. In the future though, I am planning on adjusting her color scheme, as I think it's one of the weakest parts of the design. And that's it for today's video. I'm still exploring the best format to do my videos. I think it's cool to show the design process and how the characters in Gentleman came to life, but if you have any suggestions as to how you would like me to do those videos, feel free to leave the comment down below. Also, if you are interested in Gentleman and like the content I do, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it's highly motivating to see the engagement under my videos. That being said, see you next Wednesday. Bye!